Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Right now at 10, Connecticut honors 2 police officers. Thousands gather to pay their respects to Lieutenant Dustin DeMonte and Sergeant Alex Hamzy. We have complete coverage of how they're being remembered tonight.
Also ahead, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is asking for a new trial after being ordered to pay Sandy Hook families nearly $1 billion. We'll hear his claims in a new court filing today.
I'm just gonna go home and I'm gonna hug all my babies really tight and let them know how much I love them.
And fears for parents across Connecticut today after several swatting incidents at schools. New details tonight on the fake 911 calls. An emotional day at Rentschler Field in East Hartford today as thousands of law enforcement members and other mourners paid their respects to Lieutenant Dustin DeMonte and Sergeant Alex Hamzy. The 2 Bristol police officers were killed in a shooting last week and were remembered at a joint funeral today. Hi, I'm Ben Goldman.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Thanks for joining us here at 10. The city of Bristol is leaning on one another tonight after that emotional funeral for Lieutenant DeMonte and Sergeant Hamzy. And support is still pouring in from around Connecticut and across the country. Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us live in the newsroom tonight to tell us how Bristol is saying their goodbyes. Carmen.
Ben and Sarah, earlier in the evening, we saw a flood of people stop by the memorial to pay their respects. But what stuck out the most today was seeing officers from other states. One of them telling me this isn't a loss just for Connecticut, but a loss to the entire law enforcement family nationwide. It was just last week when Lieutenant Dustin DeMonte and Sergeant Alex Hamzy were shot and killed in the line of duty. The raw feelings of hurt and shock still lingering in the air.
Actually, my son's friend was apparently outside taking the garbage out, and he heard the gunshots.
That energy felt the most at this memorial in front of the police department, one that has grown day to day. Some Bristol residents visit to add to the memorial. For others, it is to soak in a moment of silence.
I cried. Their sacrifice should not have had to have happened. And although I'm very happy that they were able to keep us safe, I mourn for their families.
Since the tragedy, support has been shown in many different ways, but there is one way that has been contagious.
Seeing all the blue lights everywhere, all the signs in the yards, all the decorations people made.
Bristol police officers and their families were seen returning back to the police department Friday evening. Some from other states, like Lieutenant Ernie Lucero from Colorado. He is with an organization called Brotherhood for the Fallen, which sends officers all over the country to funerals for fallen officers.
It's a loss in any police agency when you have one officer that you lose. Before a community here in Connecticut to lose 2 police officers in such a tragic and just horrible way, it's heartbreaking.
That loss trembling through the voices of the 2 fallen officers' wives during the funeral.
You made everything better. Thank you for these beautiful children. Wonderful memories that we will cherish forever. He is my hero, my protection, the love of my life, and of course, my heart.
Now, since Bristol police suffered this big loss, state police has taken over and will continue to do so until Sunday morning. After that, Bristol officers will return to their shifts. Live in the newsroom, Carmen Chow, Fox 61 News.
Just breaks your heart. All right, Carmen, thank you. Well, ever since Lieutenant DeMonte and Sergeant Hamzy were shot on October 12th, support for their families and other police officers has grown. Fox 61's Tony Terzi tells us that many, including the officers' families, hope deaths will give us new life to treat each other better.
This memorial outside the Bristol Police Department has certainly grown every single day with items from across the region. And today we even met a family of Bristol natives who have since moved to Virginia, but they said they simply had to return to pay their respects.
It's always been home, and this just hurts really bad.
In part because Lieutenant Dustin DeMonte was her son's school resource officer.
I feel sad and kind of mad a little bit.
This Hamden man and his son were out car shopping in neighboring Plainville and made it a point to stop by and soak in this salute.
Because I have two friends from my town that are Hamden cops, and you know, it's a really moving tribute what they did here to these brave officers that, you know, gave their lives for us.
In North Haven Friday morning, hundreds of motorcycle cops throughout New England and New York lined their bikes up early, while those watching Lieutenant Dustin DeMonte's funeral procession reflected.
I think of the families of these two officers. I know one of them had young children. I have a young child. I can't imagine what they're going through today.
Lieutenant DeMonte's wife, Laura, is pregnant with their third child, due in the spring.
Kind man. Always remember him for his kindness. And our community needs to heal and, you know, show that they have support in the town.
She, too, is a cop's wife.
You know, when you marry a man of the badge, you marry the badge, too. So you have to be supportive for the ones you love.
Just look at the love, even from other police departments. Darien Police, you've got the NYPD leaving some mementos there. And then two brothers and a sister. We caught up with them today. They dropped by these cruisers and this cute little bear dressed up in uniform. Here in Bristol, I'm Tony Terzi, Fox 61 News.
Well, certainly an emotional day beyond Bristol and the funeral in East Hartford. People across the state mourn the deaths of Lieutenant DeMonte and Sergeant Hamzy.
Fox 61's Keith McGilvery shares emotional reaction from the community that gathered this morning to remember and honor them.
It's a fraternity that goes from sea to shining sea throughout the whole country, and it hits home. You know, we come to work every day knowing that there's an inherent risk.
You say you watch us every single morning. To see this story over the course of the last week in your heart, you know, how did it hit you?
It's just, it was unbelievable at first. You just thought that couldn't be true. And then as more of the details came out, it just was just heartbreaking.
Probably one of the most proud fathers there is. Very proud of my son. He'll be on a motorcycle this morning, escorting the officers, and just super proud of my son.
Amazing how everybody just comes out together in all the communities.
You know, for these two officers to just, you know, they were just doing their job, you know, and unfortunately, you know, we're here today right now sending them home with a proper send-off.
I wonder what your message is to these grieving families, to these widows and those precious two little kids with a third on the way.
I can't. I hope that everyone could just give them all the support they need. That's all you could hope for, and that they're not alone.
That was our Keith McGilvery reporting. Now, if you'd like to see more from today's funeral services, you can find that on fox61.com, the Fox 61 News app, and on Fox 61 Plus. We'll also have more coming up at 10:30 and then on the Fox 61 News at 11. All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Gorgeous Friday out there. Did you get out and enjoy it?
Absolutely. And tomorrow's looking pretty good too, right, Rach?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Temperatures in the upper 60s. Lots of sunshine, light wind. It's going to be the pick of the weekend for outdoor plans. Right now, 45 degrees in Hartford, near 60 for New Haven. So we're seeing quite a difference inland versus the shoreline. It's another chilly night ahead, and there is a chance for areas of patchy frost, although I don't think it's as prevalent or widespread as it was outside this morning. So Still cold, but just not as cold. Temperatures dropping back through the 30s inland, and I think 40s for the Connecticut shoreline. And then those numbers really rebound as we head through the afternoon. So 7 a.m. hopefully you can sleep in a little bit later if you want to, because it's the weekend. Upper 30s starting off there. Heading towards noon, we're seeing temperatures in the low 60s, and high temperatures will climb into the upper 60s, and a few spots might be able to briefly touch the 70-degree mark. Heading into your Sunday, we'll see a lot more clouds kind of right out of the gate, and a rising chance for some showers, but still tricky timing. We're going to talk more about it. New information coming in now, coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. We're following developing news tonight as conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is pushing for a new trial. According to court documents filed today, Jones claims the judge's ruling on evidence and other matters were unfair. He also says the process for determining damages was unfair. Last week, a jury in Waterbury Superior Court found Jones liable for nearly $1 billion in damages. That money will go to several families of Sandy Hook victims. The InfoWars host spent years claiming the 2012 school shooting never happened. Stay with Fox 61 for updates on air, online, and on the Fox 61 News app.
Well, tonight, Hartford police are investigating after a man was shot and killed in the south end of the capital city. Police say 54-year-old Raymond Lewis of Hartford was shot and found just around 3:30 this morning. That was right near the corner of Weathersfield Avenue and Elliott Street. Lewis was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Anyone with information should call Hartford Police.
And new at 10, Meriden police arrest a man accused of choking a female rideshare driver with a belt. Police say the woman picked up two men in Middletown on Tuesday and brought them to the Popeyes restaurant in Meriden. One of the men became upset with her and the workers at Popeyes. At one point, investigators say Jonathan Dutch put a belt around the driver's neck and began to choke her until he saw a police car nearby, and then both men ran off. Police eventually identified Dutch. He was working in Meriden as a long-haul truck driver. He's now facing several charges.
Well, new at 10 tonight, nurses from Wyndham Hospital are planning to strike for the third time this year as they call for better pay and better benefits. A union spokesperson says they'll strike for 48 hours starting at 7 Monday morning. They'll also hold a rally at 10 on Tuesday morning as nurses try to negotiate a new contract with the hospital's owner, Hartford Healthcare. The nurses union wants mandated overtime to end, which is included in the hospital's offer. The nurses are also asking for lower health insurance premiums as well. Two other strikes were held in June and in September, as well as a rally in Rocky Hill with Senator Richard Blumenthal that happened earlier this month.